Phantasy Star Online 2 came out in 2012. The modern open world update to the game, called New Genesis, came out in June of 2021. To credit, the original game just celebrated its 9th anniversary and still holds up. The combat is fun and has depth. There are lots of things to do. The level cap is 100. The special events and quests are numerous. There are lots of classes to choose from. And to the amazement of some of my friends, you can still find people to match with for large events. There is a ton of free content and a ton of free currency you can earn without paying real money. There are loot boxes, but I don't feel the game is pay to win, although some of the prices are a bit much. I played for a bit 2 years ago, but then came back when New Genesis launched, playing regular PSO2 at around the same time. I have a playtime around 240 hours, and most of this is not New Genesis time. Why, you might ask? Because despite some potential, there's nothing to do, and I believe this game lacks an awful lot in its current state. They are promising new content, but doing the same daily quest every day is not new content. What follows is a breakdown of the game in general, so you can make a decision whether or not to invest time in this game as it currently is. Story. The core story is Arcs good, Dolls bad. You will fight the dolls, nothing special here. There is a new cast, and I feel that they did enough to get me to care about this new group of characters. No, are we kidding? It's a Japanese MMO, the characters don't matter. But really, you have the tough one, the one that just gives exposition, the one who has PTSD and worries about stuff and stares into space. The character development is that she becomes more confident when her friends are in danger. It's just so, boring. At least it's not a ton of story, and it gets you into the game quickly. Story scenes are continued after you get to the proper power level. At that point, you will join a mission, and the characters fight with you until you beat a boss. Eventually, you fight a strong boss, and the story ends until the developers can write a new one. A wise man once said, "The only good cutscene is a skipped cutscene." For this game, I would have to agree. Open world. The open world is nice and pretty and has some good scenic vistas. You can run, dash, double jump, wall jump, and glide, which is a great feature and gets you around pretty well. But it's pretty small, and other than hunting down materials, enemies, or some rare red boxes for some star gems or money, there isn't much to do. I found this handy chart and often use it to hunt down materials, but it's not very rewarding. There is only one quest that involves exploring secret areas because there aren't too many of them. You may find a cave with some photon chunk, but that's about it. There are cocoon buildings that have quests in them that you'll want to find, as well as fast travel points and the adorable region mag who will increase your drop rates if you feed it certain items. You have a map and can fast travel from anywhere after finding the appropriate Riker device. The main hub area is standard, but pretty boring. There's a central building with a control center, main drag, and giant screen to show updates and advertise events, maybe even a concert in the future. I tried to climb the big building once, but there was nothing at the top. The area can hold up to 100 players in an instance, and is basically the required hub world with some quests and other random NPCs. Nothing more, nothing less. There are areas of the open world that you can't visit yet. I presume those are going to be available in new content updates. They better hurry it up because those snowy mountains look pretty good. Character progression. There are a lot of character creation tools to make your character look good. That they nailed. It works great, and with 9 years of practice, it's a good thing. After choosing your class, you can also choose a subclass. The subclass is there so you can use its weapons and just about nothing else. You can level up and equip armor, which doesn't show up on your character like in PSO2, so it's an obvious downgrade. You equip your weapon and pick your skills on a weapon palette, which are all unlocked at the beginning. There's a sub palette where you have a green healing item that is scattered around the world map. I think it's nice, but eventually the HP will be higher than the item can heal, so there will have to be a change in the future. Each class has a variety of unlockable skill tree abilities that are unlocked at the class counter in the central hub. In order to get skill points, you have to visit cocoons, which are small buildings that have instance quests. This is the main exploration. Finishing a cocoon gets you skill points that you can use to maximize your skill tree. You also have a power level mentioned earlier. Leveling up increases this, as well as putting points into your class and strengthening your armor and weapons. By going to the item enhancement lady, and with enough materials, you can raise the level of a weapon by infusing other weapons into it, raise the level of armor by infusing other armors, add augments that boost stats, limit break the item so we can get higher stats, Put two weapons together to form a multi-weapon, which enables you to use the arts of two different weapons in your palette. You can raise the potential of a weapon, increasing its attack power and giving you some special perks. I found all this pretty easy to understand in comparison to regular PSO2, which occasionally got a bit confusing, so this is a definite improvement. Getting your power level up is required to fight stronger enemies and do new urgent quests, which are emergency quests that have matchmaking and appear randomly. So there are many ways to get stronger. You will need materials to improve yourself, but there are plenty of quests that will teach you your class, help you farm materials, and teach you the upgrade path. Happy hunting. Now watch me guys, I'm going to pull an Ego Raptor. The combat! Each class has certain weapons that only it can equip, and skills that go with those weapons. You have Hunter for swords and stuff, Fighter for fists and up-close fighting, your mid-range Gunner class and long-range Ranger class for guns, and your Techer and Force using elemental magic and fighting at different ranges. Braver was recently added, and it uses the katana and bow weapons. The enemies appear in groups around the map. They are level 1 in the central area, level 7 in the western area, level 10 in the ruins, and level 15 in the forest. When you hit 1184 power level, you can fight level 15 enemies in areas like Mount Magnus and the ruins. This is considered level 2. Every enemy group is made of smaller enemies, some hanging in the air and others on the ground. The small enemies don't do much. There are mid-level enemies like these flying guys, and usually one larger enemy wielding a sword or something. The game does a good job of showing you where the next enemy group is, so follow the yellow E sign and fight with each group. Eventually, by following the signs and defeating enemy groups, a yellow indicator will go up on the side. You will fight a larger group with a T over them. Sometimes the yellow bar goes down too, but keep at it, and if you defeat a T group with a high enough yellow indicator, you can trigger a PSE burst, which is a lot of enemies that spawn in immediately, and a boss that spawns after a short duration. This is the best way to get rare drops and experience. Every class has similar types of attacks: a basic combo, an attack you can charge, an area of effect attack, some kind of weapon action like a parry or dodge, and for some classes, buffs and debuffs. There are 3 elemental magics with 2 different types of attacks. One is long range and the other is shorter range. The longer range attacks are supposed to be weaker, but I find they actually do more damage than some of the close range attacks. Could be a balance issue. All elemental based attacks can be charged, and I'm a sucker for charge attacks. You have a short range dash that can be used to evade enemies' attacks, and it seems to have iframes at the beginning of it rather than at the end. Most classes have some kind of counter that happens after a successful dodge or a parry with your weapon action. The combat is fast, fluid, and easy to learn, but a bit shallow. This game sucks. Here's the part of the video where I complain about everything. Here we go. The level cap is only 20, and it's easy to get to. You can level up a few classes, but the enemies give so little experience that you just need to wait till the next day's reset to do the same boring quests and get some noticeable experience. There aren't a lot of people playing right now. There's a lot more playing regular PSO2, but every now and then you'll see a surge of players playing New Genesis. Because of this, players who enjoy combat like me have to do it solo. I soloed 3 PSE bursts last night because not one single player joined me in over an hour. The camera is too close to you. You can move it back a little, but some of the bosses have giant AoE attacks that you can't see coming because they're really tall and the camera doesn't go there. The lock-on is pretty bad. It never locks on to the thing you want it to. At least some of the controls can be fixed in the menus. The combat gets old pretty fast. There's a skill ceiling, but you'll bump your head into it pretty often. There aren't enough skills, and the various abilities don't seem to do too much. A lot of them are pretty samey too. They're balanced as well, so it's hard to tell which one is doing the most damage. The world map is nice, but it doesn't run at 60 FPS consistently. There are still weird stutters and freezes occasionally. Check this one out. There are tons of frame drops as well. I played some Destiny 2 after a half hour of PSO2, and the difference was very obvious. It could be my middle-of-the-road NVIDIA card, but I've run newer games at 1080p 60 easy. So what you get often is this in-between frame rate that makes combat feel like a blur. In addition to this, the effects of your attacks are really flashy, and the game is dark in spots, creating this high contrast effect. It can be a bit jarring with the frame rate dips. If you are not evading or knocked over, there are no iframes, so you can easily be two-shot or chain killed if you're unlucky. You will get hit by off-screen attacks that you can't see all the time. There are these giant tall enemies who can fire from long distances, and they will hit you. Kill them first. The dash is a bit slow, and the evasion timing is pretty weird. It doesn't always work when you want it to. When adding augments to a weapon, you need to use at least 10 of them, because if you have anything less than 100%, you have a high chance of failure. This morning when I was testing it, it literally failed at 90%. Farming photon chunk, monotite, and the different upgrade materials is pretty boring, and you need a lot of them to make a multi-weapon or upgrade a potential. There are 3 or 4 different types of the best 4 rarity weapons. Each of these 4-star weapons all have different level requirements, but all of them only have about a 4 attack power difference, if that. So you expect me to grind for a weapon just for its cosmetic look? I guess people are into that, but I have plenty of weapon camo from PSO2, so that's not really an issue. A 2-star weapon costs 5,000 at the shop, but you can go into the personal shop list and get 4-star weapons for 1,000 right now. The economy is a bit broken, but at least it makes it easy to level up your weapons on the cheap. Once you finish a cocoon, you get skill points, and those are added to every single class skill tree, so you only have to do them once. So if you level up a 2nd or 3rd class, you can already unlock the entire skill tree right away. This eliminates any variety in class leveling. It would have been nice to have each cocoon have different quests that are unique to each class, making the progression unique. But nope, just unlock everything and grind monsters forever. There are daily quests and weekly quests, but they are more busy work than anything and don't change much from day to day. It takes a long time to level, and just doing daily quests is also a bit boring. There's some extra quests and challenges, but they take forever because the monster they want you to beat almost never spawns, and there are some seriously powerful monsters they want you to defeat now, but with the current player base, there's not a lot of people to help you. The urgent quests have been dumbed down from PSO2. Beat the big monster, ooh. So they finally added a new event recently, and it was to protect the mining towers taken directly from PSO2. Give me a repeatable task for experience or money so I can have something to work on the same day. There's nothing like that in the game except kill more monsters. They are trying, but there isn't enough cosmetic items available in New Genesis either. Make sure you also play PSO2, because if you go through the story, you can get lots of star gems and use them to buy really cool stuff from retro loot boxes. The prices for a specific DLC are overpriced, so the cheapest thing to do are the loot boxes. Sheesh. I'm not usually an entitled gamer, but the DLC that costs as much as a whole game is terrible. You should be grateful that I'm even playing your game and spending money on it. Lower your dang prices. I think I'll stop there. I'm getting a bit angry. This game needs more content and some fixes to make it work. But so far you can enjoy it as a short diversion. If you are new, play regular PSO2 also. It has 9 years of content. I'm sure this game will be great in another year or so, but I shouldn't have to say that. Game developers need to step it up and give us a complete experience. And we need to demand more and stop eating the leftover scraps from the table. I think we can all do better in this regard. This is Dan T from Twisted Banana Productions, signing off to don my Rainbow Rappy costume.